Hello, my name is Elena Olansky and I would like to create this video to tell an honest story about my trip to Kailash in Tibet and tell a little bit about myself, how it all happened and why I did it. So I'm a regular girl, originally from Russia. I grew up in a small town in Russia called Azursk. It's in Ural region. It's a lot of mountains. It's a beautiful place, lots of nature. I grew up as a normal child. One thing about Russia, which is interesting, not many people know, Russia is full of spirituality. A lot of people there are seekers of something mystical, something that will allow them to learn who they really are, because the country went through a lot of turmoil, a lot of pain, a lot of wars and so on and so forth. So people there are seeking to reconnect. And I think that being Russian, I was always curious about mysticism, about different teachings, secret teachings in this world. Since Russian people are pretty much agnostic due to Soviet Union times, I was always interested in different religions and trying to find my own path within them. As well, I was always interested in traveling, exploring the world, seeing what's out there and looking for things that are not so obvious, a little bit hidden from the main touristy land. And as I grew up traveling to many countries, I got to visit so many things that could be called places of power. Like I went to Amazon in Peru and other places. I went to Costa Rica to untouched, beautiful places there. I saw parts of Mongolia that pretty much no tourists ever visit. Been to different places in Asia and South America, but that's for another story. At the end of all this travel, by now I have been exposed to many places, and I was always wondering about one place in particular, which was the mountain called Kailash in Tibet. So now off to the story. A year ago, I was coming out of a very esoteric, interesting journey in Asia, close to India and Mongolia, and I came back to my hometown in Russia. And the first night I was sleeping and thinking about how nice it is to go back to civilization and not do any more crazy hikes in esoteric mountains with very interesting, unusual people, I must say. And I had a dream, and in a dream I was walking on the mountain and I saw a lot of beautiful picturesque views with different colors, and I felt the presence of some spirit that would be kind of like a guide for me in life. And when I woke up, I clearly realized what I saw. I saw Mount Kailash. Even though I knew very little about it, I used to read different teachers, which one of them was a Russian artist and a seeker by the name of Nicholas Roerich, whose paintings could be found all over the world. And there is a museum of Roerich in New York, which I visited many times, and he had many exhibitions in Russia, which I visited being a child, so I think his art influenced me quite a bit. I'm as an artist by nature, and having finished an art school in Russia, I could appreciate his work so much more, because they were not just pretty paintings, they were deeply mystical, deeply looking into the evolution of the soul, should we say, via visiting places of power, such as Kailash. So Nicholas Roerich actually went to Kailash, and I think my dream of that night back in Russia a year ago was very much influenced by him. So I realized that if I want to be the best version of myself, I better visit this place. And now, on to the story. So we organized a trip with one of the well-known tour operators to go to Tibet, because right now you cannot go just as a tourist, you must go with a tour group. In our tour group, me and my friend Diana were the only two Westerners who were not of Indian origin or Chinese origin, and the group was 60 people, 20 of which were in our small little tour group coming out of Western countries. So some came from Australia, some came from the US, some came from Europe, but they all were Indian origin. They all spoke Hindi, they all communicated between themselves. Me and Diana, my friend, were the only ones who were Eastern European. So it was a very interesting journey from the get-go, since we didn't expect it to be as inclusive as it was. So apparently no Westerners go to Kailash. I had no idea about it getting ready for the journey. I thought it will be pretty international. So that was very interesting thing. Started to walk and going from place to place from Nepal to Tibet. As our journey progressed, we got to know well our colleagues in our Kailash journey, and they were all amazing people who taught us so much about India, Tibet, Kailash, the way to develop a spiritual journey like this, which can be deeply transformational. So first 3 days we spent in Kathmandu, exploring this beautiful ancient city, and we just went to all kinds of interesting temples, and the place is just so vibrant with the spirituality and learning how to live your life and be in tune with nature and be in tune with the calling of ancestors. So it was just really, truly beautiful. Then on the 4th day of our journey, we actually started our journey through Nepal first, and then we went to a few stops, and which with every day we were going higher in elevation. So for me, with every step going closer and closer to the actual Kailash, I had to like shed layers of myself. It actually started even before. It started in Kathmandu on the 3rd day, so the last day before we went to Tibet. We visited the biggest stupa. Stupa is a Buddhist temple. The biggest stupa in the world, which is located in Kathmandu, and it is known to be the place where souls who incarnate come to meet, and they actually set up a meeting before they come to incarnate. So that is the place where you walk around the temple and you say the prayer, and if it's meant for you to meet a soul that you set up that meeting for, it will happen. Somehow it will happen there. So guess what? I really feel like it did happen for me. So as we were walking and saying the prayer we were supposed to say, I saw this Nepali or Tibetan, I think even Tibetan, old, really old woman. I would say she was between 85 and 95. She was walking in front of me. So as you walk, you're supposed to scroll the prayer wheels that are a part of the Tibetan and Nepali tradition of praying in a Buddhist way. So as you walk, you scroll all these prayer wheels, and I see this older lady walking in front of me. She's walking really slow because she can barely walk, and she's saying the prayer and scrolling her mala, and she's scrolling the wheel. And as she can barely walk, she's still yapping and telling everybody else, all the tourists, to walk away so she can continue her path, right? So I'm like so amazed by this human being truly like authentically dressed and being extremely authentic as it gets. And I'm just following her and looking at her. And Diana is walking away and starts filming me and her. And as we enter the main entrance of the temple, which is a tiny part where they give you a darshan with the main monk of the day. So you get to sit next to the monk and he will do a little prayer called puja for you. So she walks just in front of me and she starts doing her own puja, and I start filming her. Diana says she's gonna just scream at you like crazy, but the lady actually shows her face to me, and she smiles at me. And that's after I saw her just scream pretty much in her language onto like 25 tourists. And she smiles at me and she shows me the Brahman and she says, you should sit there and you should get darshan with him, special darshan. And she actually walks me to the Brahman and sits me there. And me and Diana, we get our darshan and the prayer, and they actually do the prayer on one of my malas and charge it with the holy water and all the other objects of power they have there. And so as we walk out, I have a very deep realization that I know this lady, this older lady, from my dream. And I had this dream when I was about 10 years old in Russia. In the dream, I saw a woman who was with a dark skin, and I realized that was exact skin that this woman had. And in my dream, she was not walking. She was crawling through the street that I walked on. And there were a lot of people around. And not a single one of them would help this person who is crawling. She had no legs in my dream. And instead of the legs, she had like literally like blood and like dirty clothes, but there were like no knees, no legs, and she had this like wooden sticks that she would crawl with, and she would scream for help, and nobody would help her, and they would pretend like they do not notice her just because it is so difficult to show compassion to somebody. So I realized that is what she was there to show me. That my path in life is to be compassionate to others, which is very difficult for me because it just hurts so much to be a part of looking straight at how hard it is to live in this world. And I am blessed to have a lot in this life in terms of people, in terms of lucky events that just happen to happen. I feel truly blessed. And this older lady in Nepal was an exact that lady from my dream who showed me that we all, a lot of us, we need to show compassion to those who are not as lucky as we are, not as blessed as we are, because you never know, tomorrow the roles will just change. So we better do our best. So that was a very, very deep lesson for me. I just came out of that temple and I was just astonished for just, I think, like another day, just comparing the dream to that Bodhina temple experience. And realizations just kept on pouring. So that was the preparation to Kailash, which I'm absolutely super grateful for, to Kathmandu, and it's a magical place. And I would highly recommend to anybody who's on spiritual path it's a must. It's a must to visit. It's beautiful people, it's so diverse, has so much to offer to people of any path or religion or no path at all. You'll find something special for you there. Okay, so this was the Kathmandu story. And the next part I wanted to talk about was, as we went closer and closer to Kailash, what was happening to me internally. So as we were on our way, we were traveling one day by helicopter, the next day we took a plane, so each time we would stop at a higher elevation little town and just take rest and allow body to adjust to the altitude. The highest point of Kailash is where you walk to is 8,500 feet, which is unbelievably high for most people. Unless you are climbing mountains on a regular basis, you never get to experience that kind of altitude. So this was already quite an intense process to go further and further from civilization and to go higher and higher in altitude. So less and less nature, less and less oxygen. Every day you feel like something strange starts happening to your body because there's just no air around to breathe. So that really puts you in a deep meditational state where you just have less energy, you're spaced out, and all you can do is focus on your breath to actually bring yourself back to balance. And sometimes you really need to sleep for a few hours to come back to feeling halfway normal. So as we were going up, the whole group was experiencing, we were the 20 people who came from all the way up from Australia or US or Europe, and we were together the whole time, and I saw the symptoms, the same that I was feeling in other people. So definitely weakness, some nausea, just very much of irritation. And in those places, usually all the things that we try to hide in our day-to-day life, they start to come up. So there was like lots of irritation between people in the team, but we all loved each other. We all tried to make the best out of every day and really support each other. And I'm so grateful to the organizers and to the whole team. It was just really, really supportive group. So to any Westerners who would like to go to Kailash, like people who are going are deeply spiritual, whether they are from India or Nepal or elsewhere. It's a place where you will find amazing souls who are very deep into self-realization and personal evolution. It's just incredibly unique trip to take, and whoever comes with you, they are the people who are meant to come with you. It's not a coincidence, and whatever happens is meant to happen for you. You just be there to observe it. So as I was going from place to place, I had this deep understanding that I need to let go of so many things in my life. I was realizing that my work doesn't matter, and if I need to leave it tomorrow, I should just do it. My relationships, I should be able to let them go any moment. And I didn't like this feeling. I didn't feel comfortable with it because I'm extremely attached to the people around me and to what I do and to my lifestyle, and all of that was just crushing in front of my eyes. We're going on the 2-hour plane ride from place to place, and in those 2 hours, I think I went through my personal death of my ego, in a way that my ego just was feeling so crushed by the experience of me going to a place where I actually don't know how it's gonna be, whether I'm gonna come back from there or not, because the year before they had many incidents of people dying, and I will be cut off all the communication. I will not be able to send text or call or wherever, so it's just gonna be 11 days of total seclusion, and that is already very transformative by itself. So once we landed in actual place where we supposed to start our journey, so the place is called Nepal Ganj. So you stay there for 1 or 2 days, and then you start the walk around Kailash mountain, which is called Porikrima or Pora. So that takes 3 days. So by the time we arrived there, I felt like I'm absolutely cleansed. Like I can't even relate to the Western world anymore. That's how far it feels. That's how different that world is from this world. So since luckily for us right now, China doesn't allow anything but WhatsApp to work, and then the places where you go to during your perikrima are so bad with electricity, so you pretty much give up on technology at all. Maximum you have is your camera to take pictures, and that's it. So it's only you, your internal journey, maybe some friends along the way, if they last, because it's so hard physically to do the 3 days. Out of 20 people, we only had 5 who finished all 3 days, and the rest of them had to go back. In the other group of 50 or 60 people who went with the same tour operator from India, they all had to go back because just most of the people could not handle the altitude. And those were the people who were training for Kailash and preparing for the journey, sometimes for 10 years. So just to put it in perspective of how hard it is on your body to go through this. So I was the lucky one of the 20. I actually finished the 3 days, but I do lots of yoga and breathing exercises, so that really made it a big difference there. Anyway, so once we arrived to Nepalganj, I felt like I'm totally ready for wherever comes my way, and I will just take it with gratitude, whether I can last or cannot last and whatnot. And it already felt extremely powerful just to be in the presence of Kailash somewhere there. The place we slept the first day was a hotel with a view of Kailash. So just seeing the mountain is beyond incredible. It's just like everything and anything you've ever dreamt of. In terms of the place of power, it's like every thought you think, the answer comes back to you right away, or it comes in the way of a story that unravels in front of your eyes to show you the answer to your question. And the first thing I realized once I got there, I gotta be extremely careful of what I think and how I react to situations that happen. So we had a few accidents with people in the group. We had a few questionable things where people would just not get along. Even like people who were married for 20 years, they would not talk to each other. Me and Diana would barely talk to each other because she was in her own journey and not to be touched. And I was going through a lot myself, emotional things. I had a lot of dreams where my childhood memories would come up, and I would realize what did they actually mean, why that or this thing happened to me when I was a child, what it was to teach me. I'm here with Diana Berman, and it's been about a month since we came back. So Diana, would you like to start with the recollections of your internal story of what happened before? How did it happen that you came to Kailash? The transformation during the trip and what happened after?
So before, I didn't, unlike you, I wasn't really planning on going to Kailash, but I realized that I had to go with you.
The synchronicities were there.
The synchronicities were there, so, and it's a very holy place, so I figured, why not? Now is probably the good time, because I wouldn't go there by myself, and you're probably one of the very few people who would actually want to do something like this. So
Kailash is the place you need a lot of emotional support. You need people to go with who are in sync, right?
Exactly. So it seemed like the right time, and in my own life, I've experienced a few changes during the past year, so it seemed like a good place to go to kind of continue the changes that are happening in my life.
Yeah.
Kind of keep with that flow. It was a difficult journey. It was physically and mentally. I realized that I was not prepared either physically or mentally for the trip. But I don't regret going because I needed to know where I am. And Kailash showed me very clearly, like never before, just how far I am into the spiritual journey.
So let me ask you this, Diana. How do you see, like, what did Kailash start for you? What kind of transformations? What do you think it did, if anything?
Well, one of the main things that it did for me was it forced me to realize just how wrapped up I am in my thoughts, and it isn't, prior to Kailash, there's all these ideas, workshops, places where I might want to go, all these different places in India and everywhere actually. There's 1,020 ideas of workshops and places that I wanted to visit. And what Kailash made me realize is that the place that I really need to visit is my own mind, and that's where I need to focus my attention. So I believe, I don't know if I would have signed up for a 10-day silent retreat prior to Kailash. Yeah. I didn't see, I always knew that there was a use for something like that, but
so you are going to a 10-day Vipassana.
The 10-day Vipassana retreat is
right after.
Is the result of Kailash. Even though I registered for the, no, I believe I registered for it. No, I registered for it before we went to Kailash. So there was something, I registered for it, but when I did it, I didn't really take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
The seriousness of the situation only hit me when I got back from Kailash, and just made me realize just how far I was from where I wanted to be, and how much I needed the 10-day retreat. And it'll be interesting to do an interview after the 10-day retreat.
Absolutely.
Just how much I needed to look at my own mind and expand it, so that I can move on to other things. Not even other things, but so that I can move on beyond the mind.
So that's the general outcome of the Kailash, that you need to work on your spiritual practice and up at the level, right?
Exactly. So Kailash made me see just how not present I am, and just how deep inside my mind I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way there's nowhere to go. There's there's many beautiful and holy places in the world. There's many different beautiful lakes and rivers with holy water, but none of it is very beneficial. I could drink the entire Wondershare Lake, but if you are stuck in your mind, none of it, you won't feel, you won't get the benefit of all these things. And not just Wondershare or something like the Ganga, but also, when you're dealing with psychedelics, when you're dealing with ayahuasca, or you're dealing with cannabis, or you're dealing with any of these psychedelics, mind manifesting. If you're deep inside your mind, you're not going to get the full benefit of the plant either.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get the full benefit of a yoga practice. You're not going to get a full benefit, So it all really boils down to being present and not being stuck inside, not being attached so much to your thoughts. That's the main lesson for me.
I would say that was one of the lessons for me as well. So can I ask you some incidents that really stood up during our journey? What was fun? What was troubling? How did you feel at certain points? Please share with us.
So I'll share an incident that happened there that was very telling. Because I mean, I've had incidents like that in other places, but for some reason in Kailash it was just really visible. So at the beginning of our journey in Tibet, we were our first or second night in Tibet. We were stationed at the camp at Manasarvar Lake, very holy place, and we were there on full moon night, also a very auspicious time, and we were supposed to, you know, they say that during the full moon night you could watch Parvati take a bath in Manasarvar. And we were planning on watching, observing, something like that. So we're at this camp and it's nighttime and it's freezing, and I roll myself a cigarette and I make myself a hot tea, and I go outside to have that hot tea with that cigarette. Around the same time, we're also looking for someone, and I wanted to find that person before I have that tea with that cigarette. It took us a little bit of time to find that person, and I put the thermos with my hot tea that I just made on the floor to go talk to him for literally 2 minutes. And when I turned back, the thermos with my hot tea was gone. Now, you know, we are kind of, you know, what I forgot in that moment is that it was a very magical night. You know, it was a full moon night on one of the holiest places in the world. And you know, if my consciousness been expanded enough, perhaps I could have seen it as an act of grace from God. Maybe Shiva took my tea. And perhaps Shiva took my tea so that
would be a beautiful explanation.
Because maybe Shiva took the thermos, because I was very stuck in, you know, I was attached to having, it was freezing. Understandably, I really wanted something hot to drink. And of course, my addiction to cigarettes with tobacco, so I wanted to smoke and I wanted to have that hot drink, totally forgetting that I was indeed in a holy place. And so my first thought was that, you know, after I spent some time trying to find the thermos, and after about 10 minutes of trying to find it unsuccessfully, I made the conclusion that it was stolen from me, which was indeed the case. But instead of putting it on a, like maybe it was meant to be, maybe it was taken from me to kind of create detachment from.
Exactly. That's the Shiva way of showing.
Right. Exactly. Instead, I didn't see the Shiva or anything holy. I saw it as some asshole took my tea. And what kind of an asshole would take tea at the holiest place in the world? And I went into this whole anger and frustration cycle where I was hoping that whoever stole my tea would take on all the bad karma of the entire region of Tibet. I remember those words. Okay.
And your words are powerful, I know that.
Yeah. So
I'm very happy for that person right now, in case you're watching. You know what's coming.
Perhaps it was Shiva who took my, you know, maybe Shiva wants to, you know, kind of, and you know, I could say I forgot that I was in a whole place. No, I didn't forget. My anger took over, and it took a while to calm down. Meanwhile, I missed an opportunity. An opportunity was to see those thermoses. Indeed, you know, perhaps it was taken by a divine course, and there's definitely, you know, if I was so, my mind was so stuck on having this hot tea with the cigarette that it was so attached to the idea that it was like tunnel vision. I couldn't see anything in front of me. So, you know, I was definitely there not to have tea with tobacco. I was there to kind of cleanse and expand.
Right.
And
right.
And
attachment to the body. Right?
And I missed that opportunity. I can't even say that I missed the opportunity. I almost want to say that it was meant to happen in this way, because to teach me this lesson once more. I've had this happen to me several times, actually, on different trips. And another trip that something like this happened to me on was when I was in Hawaii for the Ram Dass retreat. And so they gave out this mala at the end of the retreat that had the guru's piece of blanket. And when I came up to receive my mala, I noticed that mine didn't have that piece of blanket, which created, instead of seeing it as a sign from the above, perhaps, I saw it as, oh my God, this is so unfair. And, you know, the thoughts that went through my head at that moment was, well, I paid just like everybody else for this retreat. Therefore, I will not leave this place until I receive my little tiny piece of the blanket, the thread. I'm not like, that seems to be like what everybody's like excited about, that they're leaving with a little piece of Maharaj's blanket. I was like, I paid enough for this Hawaiian trip not to like. And what happened next? I went to the helper there, and they took my mala, and they gave me one with, I did get what I wanted, but only as I was flying back to New York did I recognize that I actually gave away something very special in exchange for something that everybody else had.
That is profound. And that ties in with the Mansarovar.
And it definitely ties in with Mansarovar, because again, even though the situation is a little bit different, you know, again, life is showing me my mind taking over and not trusting. It's also about trust. Okay, if you fully trust your life, if you fully trust that whatever's happening is an illusion created to evolve you, then can I really get the wrong mala?
Absolutely, it's trust in life.
It's trust in life. So this is a big message. It's a big message. Can you know, the stolen thermos? I could have looked at that a little bit differently, not as a stolen thermos, but and this doesn't have to be a stolen thermos or a mala. It's like everything. You know, you bet on the stock market and you lose all your money. Is it a mistake? Do you blame yourself, or do you trust life that was something that needed to happen?
Right.
So not just, you know, we tend to trust life when it's very positive.
Right.
And as soon as something even remotely negative happens, like, you know, thermos is not a big deal, it's just a thermos. But the message is that, you do not trust life. How can you trust life and freak out like this?
Somebody once said the best way to live is thinking that the universe conspires on your behalf every step of the time. Whatever it brings you, it conspires to evolve you, bring you to the next level, make you happier, but through maybe leaving things behind. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. And how about fears? Like, any work with fears? I know you had a difficult moment. We had a difficult moment the last day we were in Kathmandu before we departed for Kailash, when we had the first meeting with the group. Remember at the briefing?
Yes, the briefing. Well, you know, I've learned quite a bit from that briefing. I've learned that it's not I don't think this is a question about fears. This is programming.
They don't worry about it.
When you let in I've observed something very interesting about you. I've noticed on several of our journeys now, whenever somebody explains something bad is about to happen to you, whether it's high elevation or drinking the Ganga water, whatever it may be, you have a way of just rejecting whatever that person says and really rejecting it and believing your own story, and indeed it turns out to be exactly as you envision it to be, and you have that trust. Again, this goes back to trust.
It does in many ways.
It goes back to trusting yourself versus somebody else.
So what happened during the briefing?
So,
how did it go?
So
it was actually a very interesting moment in our lives.
So here's how the briefing goes. I don't know, I'm thinking maybe the guy was upset that he had to do a special briefing just for the two of us, because they did in any case. So we come to this briefing, and this guy is, he's definitely trying to scare us. He's telling us about the elevation sickness and what are the symptoms, and as I'm listening to him, his words are entering my ears, and I envision all of these things he's describing happening to me. At the same time, I'm watching Elena here brush her hair and completely give this guy no mind at all. So while you're brushing your hair, and I can feel like a bowling ball forming in my stomach. And and as we reached Tibet finally, I felt all those things that guy said. Well, you were fine. Now granted, you were way more prepared than me. You did yoga, you just in a better, probably mental and physical shape than I was. But I think that the briefing,
it affected
me. And maybe I would have handled it better had I not, because I was basically, what I was doing is, after that briefing, is watching for those symptoms and maybe adding to them as we went along.
Absolutely.
So it's again, trust in life, and you had a very deep calling to go there, and you knew that nothing bad was going to happen, or whatever happens was for your own benefit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And Kailash is a place where things materialize. So your vibrations, your thoughts, everything goes into motion right away. So it's actually a good place to watch. It's almost like a dream state.
Yeah.
Right? In a dream you fear or you feel like this may happen, and it happens right away. So that's exactly what I think happens there.
Perhaps that was the wrong, but it wasn't wrong. It's about trust. This guy was a perfect, I'm glad he was there, and I'm glad he was there trying to scare us. And because I saw your reaction, and that wasn't just the only time. When we were in India, when our guide there was, letting you know that you were going to get very sick because you drank a gallon of Ganga, and you were completely not buying it, and you didn't get sick, you were fine.
And so didn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I drank a little bit. I didn't drink a whole gallon.
You still did. You still did.
True.
Yeah,
it only takes a drop. That's true.
It counts very much.
Trust in life.
Trust in life.
And you clearly have a bit more of that than I do.
We are all on the same path.
Yes, no, I'm saying,
yes.
and in a way you were a good teacher for me in that moment, and not just in India, but in Kailash. Like in India, it was like, okay, well, it's pretty good. In Kailash, it was like, okay, it wasn't a coincidence. It was mind over body almost.
In many ways.
In many ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was a very powerful moment. That what happened before we left and what happened there. Because I felt, and as when we first got to Tibet, in the first 5 or 6 hours that we got to Tetlakot, I started feeling exactly what he described. Like my body was swollen. I had a headache. I had nausea. I had tired, I was so tired I could not get off the bed. Everything as he described it, and his final description was, you know, people die there.
Welcome to Tibet.
So, you know, it was, I'm sure I would have felt some stuff had we not had that session.
Mm-hmm. But you chose to focus on it much more.
But because we had that session, it was way more, or I made it much bigger for myself than, and again, I was very much in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
All those fears, and it wasn't just it was like maybe the feeling of, I watched you as we entered Tibet, and we were in a bus, right? We were driving, and you had a moment there where you weren't feeling exactly.
Yes,
but
definitely.
But you sat through it. You sat, and you.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little different for me because as soon as I felt something, instead of just watching it, I let my fears kind of like, oh my God, so this is happening to me now, so the next thing that's gonna happen to me, I basically, it's like you said, you know, this guy was there to program us. He managed to program me for this elevation experience of what should happen next. Like, as soon as I started feeling bloated and as soon as I got a headache, I knew the next thing was gonna be nausea, and guess what? You know?
The first part, what happens with you when you enter Tibet, the first day, typically you arrive to a place called Manasarvar Lake. So Manasarvar Lake is known for thousands of years as a place of spiritual devotion. It's supposed to be one of the most sacred lakes on the whole planet. It's very high up in the mountains, so it's crystal clear, it's beautiful. And next to it, incidentally, there is another lake called Rakshasan Lake. So Rakshasan Lake is supposed to be a lake of demons. In the Vedic scripts, that's what it's called, and it's worshipped by 4 religions: the Jains, Hindus, Buddhists, and Bon. So both of those lakes are like black and white, like duality. So Mansarovar is a crystal clear. Most of the time, it has not a single wave. So it's like a mirror of the beauty around it, which is like amazing mountains. And Kailash, it's a clear water lake where you can bath, and this is what you do before you go around Kailash. Typically on the full moon night, you go and during the day, because it's usually very cold at night, you bathe and you do 3 holy dips in Mansarovar to bless yourself, to clean yourself of all the karma. And I had a very special experience related to Mansarovar Lake. I had no idea about the existence of the lake before I signed up for the journey. And I read a little bit about it, but I was not so interested in it at all because I was going to Kailash. I was all about the mountain, all about meeting that spiritual person who I was supposed to feel that I met. Because of all my early childhood experiences, I felt like when I go to Kailash, I will meet some spiritual teacher that will really show me what my path is all about in this lifetime. So I didn't care too much about Mansarovar, and I was just participating with everybody in all the activities there. However, a night before I was supposed to leave for Kailash, I had a dream that by going into the lake, I am cleansing all the karma of myself and of all the people deeply related to me, and not necessarily even only relatives, definitely relatives, but even the friends that I have that are really truly close to me, that I kind of carry their vibration with me, for them and for 7 generations before is 7 generations in moving forward after. So it came to me in a way, not that I just heard like you cleaning karma and all, not that, but I felt like presence of several beings when I was sleeping. They were around me and they woke me up with that you are doing this in the lake. This is what's happening. Just so you know, you're cleansing karma. And at that point, I didn't even know much about the lake. It's a very nice lake. Why not? Let's do the prayer around the lake and just go to Kailash. But as I was waking up with this, it was just a really, truly sensational experience. It was like just so palatable. Like these beings were just there with me, like I could almost touch it. I'm sure almost everybody had those dreams once in a while where you can almost taste what you're eating in the dream, or you can almost feel like the vibrancy of the experience. Like you wake up and you're like, what's the reality, this or that? So that's how vivid that dream was. I could taste it, I could feel it. I could feel the water of Mansarovar in the dream. And it was cleansing me. It was cleansing people around me. And it was a message, I think, for me to relate to whoever will be listening to this video. If you want to do a powerful cleansing of karma, of all the things that you're ready to let go, but you don't know how. All your memories, all the things that were traumatic. You know, you want them to gracefully leave you and be transformed maybe into your personal power, maybe into your personal evolutionary experience where you know what not to do. But if you have those things that you're ready to let go of, whether it's a disease, whether it's emotional connection to something that you just struggling with, don't know what to do with it, addiction, whatnot, karma in general. That is an incredibly powerful way to do this. Just going to Mansarovar, you don't even have to go to Kailash, but you may be tempted to. And just going to do the 3 holy dips in the water and just giving it your all. Just your intention will make it happen. The place is so powerful that every intention, every thought of yours materializes. And that is why I from now on, I'm a true believer and I will recommend it to everybody. This is the journey of a lifetime. And if you're ready and if it's in the cards of destiny to bring you there, you just put intention and see what happens. See what happens in a year or 2 years or whenever it's meant to be. Mansarovar, anybody can do, anybody can get there, because we had people in the group who were close to 7 years old and they all went and they all did the holy dip and they were all fabulously happy. Mansarovar is somewhat cold, but it's doable. Nobody got sick, everybody was feeling absolutely divinely refreshed. And I think that day when we were on Mansarovar Lake, that night, full moon night in September, it was the 6th of September 2017, we were just as happy and as united as we were ever as a group. Even though we slept in very simple accommodations, there was just something so special and sacred happening there during the whole 24 hours around Mansarovar that I will never forget that time. I will never forget that time. So, to be continued, the next day we started the walk around Kailash mountain. So the first day of the walk is the easy day where you go on the flat surface and you just pretty much enjoy the walk. It's nice. The day was easy, quite easy for me, even though at certain times I was feeling like I can't breathe properly. And that day I was not still taking altitude medication, so I was looking for a symptom. So if you get the symptoms of like headache and nausea, you gotta start taking the medication. But I got a little bit of headache, not splitting headache, but here and there I was feeling very unbalanced. And what I started doing at that point, I took a simple mall I had, different than this one, and I started just chanting inside my head a simple mantra. And this is one of the things I actually got out of Kailash, is pretty much the way to balance yourself in whatever situation you have through the repetition of mantra. Even just a little bit, even just for a minute, it just brings it all together back again. Because imagine the situation. You are a Westerner, a young girl by herself, around the people where there's not a single Westerner who looks like you. I have not met one person with a blonde hair, or for that reason, like my color of skin or my color of eyes, during the whole 3 days. They just don't exist there. Not a single person went. So imagine you being that different in a place that is about 27 degrees cold Celsius, and I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, so it's freezing cold to the point where your arms stop feeling anything, even if you have 2 layers of gloves, okay, at night or in the morning or in the evening. And then you have nice weather, pretty warm during the day, where you can pretty much walk in like almost no sleeves, so dressed, and you have nothing with you but your little tiny backpack that you have a porter to carry for you, because you cannot carry it yourself. It's too difficult to even carry your body at that altitude of 18,000 feet. So at least for me, and for everybody in the group, by the way. So you know that your livelihood depends on these people who you barely know, the tour organizers, and now you're by yourself walking on the track, and you start feeling a little dizzy, a little not knowing what's going on. So that is the power of mantra. That's how really I discovered the connection to the mantra there, because once I would start going and just chanting mantra, and sometimes I would just even take a bracelet, any bracelet, and you start doing this, just simply like this, and you just say the mantra, any mantra you like, simple one, works perfect, and then you really feel like you can breathe again, and the energy just starts pouring into your body. And next thing you know, you notice a beautiful mountain around you, and you notice this creek that is on the bottom of your feet, and you see the sky and you see the sun, and you just feel so refreshed, and you just feel incredible amount of freedom, that depth of detachment, of nothing really matters but this moment right here, right now. I have never felt even 10% of what I felt there. I just don't know how to explain it to anybody. It just, you gotta be there, you gotta be there, you gotta be just present a little bit to get the sense of, if you have not experienced this state, you were alive, but you really never lived. That's how I felt. I felt like this is the first day of my life, because I really, really deeply feel alive. Nothing compares to it. No money compares to it. No pleasures compares to it. Not a single one that you can think of. This is so much deeper. This is so much fuller. The colors, the smells, the ideas that start pouring into your mind about the universe, the way it's built, the way everything works, and so much love, just love for everything. Every little thing starts just arising in you for no reason at all. And then again, you feel not good, and then again, you have to rebalance yourself. But then, you know what? After 3 days, something resets in your system, and it stays with you forever. At least that's how I feel right now. Right now, it's been about a month and a half after I came back from Kailash. There is a quality change within me. A quality change within me in terms of who I think I am, who I feel that I am. I'm much more harmonized with the surroundings, and I feel much more in tune with nature and much more at peace with those states of feeling not good for whatever reason, whether internally not good or externally facing some issue. Because Kailash throws lots of those things at you at every moment, and just, are you staying present? Can you handle it? And you know, as you know, it's a sacred journey. You know it's there to test you. It's not just an issue. It's not just feeling not good. It's a test. How are you going to react? And by being so conscious for even 3 days, you reset your system on such a deep level that you carry it out when you leave the mountain. You discovered something within yourself, and you take it there with you.
It definitely, and it was a good experiment in how susceptible I am, first of all, to suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very clear.
So would you say with those two, Kailash showed you exactly the things you can improve and upgrade, right?
I would say so.
Yeah,
I would say the mind is, you know,
trust in life.
Trust in life. Because if you trust in life, what is there to do? If you know for a fact there is no such thing as death, right? Then what is there to do? What do you agree?
Yeah, it's the idea of feeling it really with your body, that there's no death, not just knowing somewhere mentally.
All fear, all anxiety is coming from not trusting life.
Mm. Yeah.
And then, if you trust life, if you really fully trust life, then it doesn't matter who you talk to. They can't make you untrusting.
Mm-hmm.
See? If you talk to somebody and they scare the shit out of you, that means you don't have enough trust to begin with to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's
or
beautiful statement.
Or if you know you're not there yet, then the next best thing you can do is brushing hair for an hour.
Yes, and block all the negative things that may come your way. With grace.
It's a very good. So if you're not there yet, if you're not 100% trusting, and there is someone there who is trying to scare you, the best thing you can do is ignore them.
Absolutely, I agree.
You are a very powerful teacher that way.
We're learning every day. So what are some of the beautiful memories we got from Kailash for you? Think of something that was profound.
For me, the most profound day, or night rather, was the very last night we had in Kathmandu. And I have to say, you know, this trip, though we went to Kailash, Kathmandu had quite an effect on me. It's very, like, I'd like to go back to Kathmandu. Nepal was crazy. There are two things that were very special. For example, that night we were at Pashupatinath.
Yes.
At night we did the ceremony right across from the temple, and we were watching the Aarti.
Yes, so last night we were in Kathmandu. We actually went to the main Shiva temple of the town, and we stayed there to watch the evening Aarti, and we did our own puja, because at that temple there maybe 30 or 40 little Kali it was Kali little temple.
No, they weren't Kali. There was a Kali temple on the ground, but
On the other side?
on the other side, they were not. They were So they were fertility temples. And Shiva Shiva because it had a Shiva lingam. Shiva Shakti. Well, what it was is the way I understood it was. So there's the temple, and then the temple is in the Bakmati River, which is considered to be a very holy river. And remember, I wanted to go down there.
Yes.
We should have touched it. But that only means we just have to go back to Kathmandu at some point.
Why not?
We should have taken some water from that river. That would have. We should have filled the bottle there, but that's okay. Bakmati is considered to be a very holy river, and this temple is one of the most important Shiva temples. It's one of the 12 Jyotirlingams, and it's considered to be one other thing we missed there. So this temple is actually, remember when we were in Haridwar, they told us that Haridwar was where the Satis, a part of Sati fell. So the Pashupatinath is also where a piece of Sati fell.
Right.
And it's actually not the Pashupatinath temple itself where it fell. It was right next door. There was another temple.
What was your experience during that time at Pashupatinath? What did you feel? What did you feel in Kathmandu?
Pashupatinath, the experience itself was. I finally, I've been to India. I've been to India a couple of times before this, and I've seen the burning ground several times. There's always been this very uncomfortable feeling, especially when we first saw Varanasi. I had a very uncomfortable feeling being there, just seeing all of those. And in Pashupatinath, I finally reached a point where I was at peace, And then I think the reason why I had that experience in Pashupatinath and not anywhere in India was because, and I know in Varanasi it's also we weren't there during what's special, and I think in Varanasi you could observe this as well, we were just not there when this was happening. Seeing the arti and this huge celebration while you're watching the funeral proceedings is very powerful.
So it's celebration.
It's a celebration of death.
Life and death.
Life and death. So the part where we sat, where we did the ceremony, that was the fertility. So you die and your soul passes through fertility. It goes through a circle back to life. So we were on the fertility side, and we were watching death. We were watching death, and we were on the birth side of things.
And then that night, I know you had a powerful experience when we did with the puja.
Yes.
About mantras.
I realized that mantras are spells.
Right.
And they're not every spells, every mantra, where did, we have to ask ourselves, where did it come from? And, I believe that every mantra that has been actualized, meaning it worked, the more people that were able to actualize the mantra, the more powerful it is. And not only that, but people who have mastered the mantra, their energy is here to help you master it as well. So when you're doing a mantra, I think it is very important to call on those people who have self-actualized themselves through the mantra, to know about them. And as I made that realization, I thought about a mantra that made an impression on me, which is the Gayatri mantra. And as soon as I started reading about Vishwamitra, I recognized a lot of aspects of his personality that he had to deal with that were actually, very similar to my own. And in there was the lesson. So it was, it was very powerful for me to learn about him and look at the things he had to overcome, because they're the very same things I have to overcome. And it might be that for every person who's, if a certain mantra is interesting to you, perhaps if you learn more about that particular mantra, those who have perfected themselves with it, they might have had to overcome the very same things you had to overcome. You have to still overcome. And through their lessons, you can progress.
So would you say with the first two lessons from Kailash, trust in life, dealing with anger, not being programmed by somebody else,
right?
And now at the end of the story, Kailash gave you a mantra to actually do the work. Would you say that applies?
I would say that applies. It's not even the mantra, but it's more like it's interesting. I thought of that mantra, and it came from a rishi that had some. It was, there's 7 rishis. Vishwamitra is the only rishi who has not been designated that role. Like he had to fight his own way. And the things he had to overcome to become one of those 7 is anger and revenge. Those 2 aspects were what, he had to create spiritual weapons to fight those. And those are exactly the things that I need to overcome in my own spiritual practices. So in a way, Kailash or Kathmandu and everything that all the work that we did pushed me directly and showed me like here's a mantra that I can work with, but it's not even just about the mantra. It's really about what that person has to overcome.
So you have clarity now. And how we should handle it on Kailash is probably how we should handle it in life. So Kailash throws so much of everything and all together at you, that this is a great training for any type of tough situation you may experience. Not only it's physically challenging, but emotionally it's off and on. You can barely understand what's going on with you, but then you have a bunch of people around you that all are going through the same, and you need to deal with them somehow. So Diana didn't make it to the second day. She really did not feel good. She was nauseous and splitting headaches. She had to go back, and by the second day, me and her were more in sync. We actually started talking again, and we both, as we know each other for a while, we realized how tough it is for both of us. So just leave it be. She went back and I continued forward, carrying her and the rest of the group in my heart, because most of them had to go back. And so we started the day at about 6 or 5:30 in the morning. We saw the beautiful, magnificent sunrise. The second day we go up and closest to Mount Kailash, and we keep on going up. Then there's a little valley, and then we go up a bit more, and then the third way up, which is probably the most challenging and the coldest by far. And then you find yourself at the beautiful, beautiful place, which is 2 lakes, Gorikund. So one lake is a green lake, which is fresh water, and it's crystal clear green color. People even bathe in it. Some people, not us, obviously. And the second lake, which is a little bit lower, which makes no sense from the physics standpoint, and that lake is covered with the probably about 20 centimeters, so like 12 inches of snow, of ice. So the water lake is on top, on the very top, and the closest point to Kailash you may see. And the other lake, both of them are called Gorikund, is a little bit lower. So What should I say about this day? This day you see much less people because our group got much slimmer and there were much less people from other groups as well. So you see less people, you spend more time by yourself. Even my porter with my little backpack, he was frequently either behind me or way ahead because he also needs, because he's carrying some weight on him, he needs to rest. And it becomes extremely challenging with the altitude and how cold it is. So basically very little food, some water in your hand, and off you walk a few steps up, and then most of the people need to take a breather. So you take about a minute, in which time you either look around. I was taking some pictures and just check in, but it's not a good idea to stay longer resting because then some people can't even get up and continue walking, and at that point they cannot send either a horse or a helicopter. It's just too far and too high, and emergency services do not work on the second day because it's just impossible to get there. So the day was beautiful and magnificent. We were not sure whether it's gonna happen to us at all, because on the first day we had a lot of snow and lots of tour operators didn't continue on the second day. Our tour operator, we actually had to really beg them to let the 5 of us go because the weather was not good. We're not supposed to make it happen. But it was beautiful that it happened. It was beautiful because we felt like we had more privacy to enjoy the mountains and enjoy the whole path because it's so unique. It has so many different parts of it. So the first part I called it a valley of death, and it was one of the most profound and unique experiences that I had on Kailash because in that part of the journey you're walking through the heaps and heaps of little pyramids that are built by Buddhists, and in each one there is either, like, you see on it wrapped around maybe a scarf or a hat or something of that sort, but inside of this pyramid there are ashes of the person. So you see thousands of those pyramids around you and you walk through this, and then you see major like stones with like this kind of scarves on them, where different color scarves, or certain places where you see little creeks and lots of different flags and scarves around them. Those are different sacred places of power where you can stop by and just enjoy and try to connect to the energy of the place. So I was sitting in one of them and I saw a sign, no photography, no pictures, no nothing, and I asked somebody who was passing by me what that meant, and he told me this is a spot where Buddhist monks bring their the white lamas, which is like, I think, the highest title for lama, and they bring their bodies, so they do not burn the bodies, they bring the body there to this spot, and the animals and eagles will eat the body, and that is the way they give the blessing to the earth. So I was meditating there for a while and actually had quite a few realizations there about my life, what I need to do, how I need to evolve, and one big one there was that in order for me to discover who I truly am, I need to embody every and each one of my fears and negative emotions. And that was the second big message. So the first one was compassion that I got in Kathmandu, and the second one was this, that I need to make peace with every fear fear that I have, with every anxiety that I have, with every angry thought, with every addiction, I need to embody that and become that and make that a part of me. Accept that, truly accept that, and only that, by integrating all these pieces of me and transforming myself in the midst of that, because there is no way you can stay the same person before fear and after fear. To really accept that fear, you need to change who you are. So by doing that, that's what I've been told. I will become the fullest version of myself, and I will actually discover who I am. I am not yet sure what that really means, but maybe I will have more realizations as I progress and as I move on in life. Yeah, so that was a very, very powerful place for me to meditate. And as I moved during the day, I found quite a few of those places where there was just something so special going on. You just felt different types of energy, like different realizations, different thoughts. And it's not like I have that all the time happening to me. I would love to say, yes, I can hear and I can see and I can feel the spirits. No, not at all. Not at all. I wish. But there on Kailash, it's incredible feeling of synchronicity, and it's an incredible feeling of you are being shown what to do, where to go, how to go, what to say in your head during that. And it's like a prayer that keeps on evolving through you, keeps on just making its new realization through you. It's almost like the universe is observing itself via your being. It's like Kailash is talking to Kailash and observing Kailash, but via you, if that makes any sense. So I actually had a moment where a different song or a different mantra would turn in my head several times, and that would guide me to a place that would answer why this mantra turned on in my head, or why this song. It could be like a pop song or like a song from my childhood. Why did it just come to me right now? And a realization would follow another realization and another realization. Yeah, like this, I found another place on the second day where there was a beautiful, beautiful stream of water coming from Kailash, and you could sit and look at Kailash and talk to it. And I had a feeling that I need to give something from me to this place. And I had a mala. It was a Shiva mala, so Rudraksh mala, one-faced Rudraksh, which is Shiva energy, and it was custom made for me in Varanasi. It had not the traditional 108 beads, but it had 111 beads because I love anything to do with 11. So it was 111, and I wore this mala for 2 years, about 2 years, and I prayed a lot with it. So I had a feeling that this is the time to put all the prayers and give it to Kailash and give it to Shiva with all the blessings for the world that I carried throughout those 2 years. And incidentally, once I thought of this, I walked around. I was looking for a place where I can leave the mala, and I wanted it to stay there. I wanted it to stay and not just be taken by the stream. I wanted it to stay in that space because it was so close to Kailash, and it was like the water was just crashing down. So I felt like it's the sacred water cleaning the karma, maybe mine, maybe other people, and it has a very significant connection to me because I was wearing it a lot. It was custom made. I love this mala very much. So by leaving it there, I felt like I leave a part of me on Kailash. So for some reason, making just a few steps, I saw this stick that looked like a trident that Shiva has. So it was like some little I think it was like aluminum made or copper made. I think it was copper made trident on the ground, lying down like this big. And I saw those ones after we came back. I saw them selling in Kathmandu and other places, but before that I've never seen one like that. And so of course I picked up the trident, I put my mala on top of it, and since copper is quite heavy, I was just able to drop the trident with the mala, and I could see it still being in the stream and the water cleaning it. So as I sit here today, I can literally remember my mala, feel it in my hands, and then I feel it being there. I know it's there. It's deep enough so nobody can see it or take it, so it's there, and it will remain there. And there's nothing more beautiful than me to know that I'm so connected to Kailash now by the power of Shiva Mala. That's one of the beautiful moments for me there. And it doesn't matter how cold it was. I put my hands into that stream again and again and again, and I put lots of water on myself, and I felt truly blessed and truly peaceful. Truly peaceful. So another beautiful place I wanted to mention was Gaurikund. Gaurikund is the lake whereby in Indian scriptures they say that this is the place where Parvati, the wife of Shiva, was taking a bath, and that's where Ganesha was created, becoming a Ganesha. He is the remover of obstacles, and she is the personification of Shakti, the female energy of beauty, power, abundance, love, and light. This is one of her places, and the water from Gaurikund you can take home. Typically somebody in the group will send one of the porters to bring the water, and you take that sacred water. And I have brought like so much of it. I gave it to lots of friends, all my family, sent it even back to India to some friends there. So it's just a beautiful, most sacred gift you can give. So Gaurikund was very special to me because there while I was taking the water, putting it in a bottle, the water from the White Lake, which is in Buddhist tradition the lake of white Tara. Tara is a goddess of wisdom, power, and compassion, and white Tara is a goddess of meditation. So when I was taking the water from the White Lake Gaurikund, I heard the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum just starting to play in my head, very, very loudly. And then I couldn't get this mantra out of my head for another maybe 18 hours till I went to sleep that day. I couldn't believe this. And at that point, I didn't know that the lakes were also very sacred for Buddhist tradition. I thought they're only Hindu tradition. So I was wondering, why did Buddhist mantra come to me? What does that mean? But now I see that it's a very, very powerful spot for meditation. And it is also so high because it's the highest part you get to see on Kailash, that you have no thoughts. You just so spaced out. It's cold, but it's sunny, it's unbelievably beautiful. Everything seems so surreal at this point. You have no idea what's going on and how it's all gonna end for you, because every step is work. Every step, you take 3 steps and you need to stop and breathe. Even people who are Tibetans do that. So imagine that state, it's so perfect for meditation. And then that mantra came to me, so this is the place I would recommend for somebody who really wants to deepen their meditative practice. Korikund is an incredible, powerful place for meditating. So in terms of meeting a spiritual guru or a spiritual person that would be profoundly relevant for my path, I wouldn't say I met a person, but I met somebody who told me a profound thing that I want to share. So standing on the highest point of the Kora, looking down at both Korikund lakes, the green and the white, I saw a man, a tall gentleman, who was praying, and he had like lots of these Rudraksh malas, and he was definitely very, very devoted. He was reading a Shiva mantra. So once he finished reading it, I already walked out of the place because he was so involved in reading it. But I realized I forgot something and I had to run back. I think it was like my stick that I was carrying, so I forgot my stick, I had to go back. And then I spoke to him, and we took pictures together, and he told me a few things about Kailash, which I didn't know. So Kailash, according to many religions and many thinkers, is a point, one of the most, if not the most, important point of the world to access different dimensions. So the mountain arguably is a pyramid, which was built by who knows what or whom, but it would be very challenging to build it for human beings. So we may wonder. There are a lot of different explanations of what Kailash is, and we know that every spiritual teacher that became well known, and that includes Muhammad, Buddha, Christ, Sikh Guru Nanak, and many more teachers. They all went to Kailash. At some point in their lives, they all came and they went around Kailash, and they connected to the mountain. So there is a firm understanding of many religions, so that this mountain holds the knowledge of many civilizations, many religions, many cultures. It's all been transmuted by the teachers and given to them while visiting Kailash. On top of that, not only is it a library for human knowledge of mysticism, it is said to be a way to go into other dimensions that are not available on this planet otherwise. So supposedly the mountain is connected to the center of the earth. From the center of the earth there is a beam of light that goes through Kailash and goes up into different dimensions. So by being there and just walking that ground, just by your physical presence, your cells of your body resonate with different vibrations which they would normally never be able to get to. So certain things may be activated by being on Kailash. That's why the mountain is known to bring a lot of, say it simply, aha moments, realizations, and saying it more spiritually, enlightening moments. So basically whatever is ready in you to be opened up to a new level is meant to happen there. It's one of the most powerful catalysts. Even from the quantum physics standpoint, one can tell that this would be a place to connect to something in the other reality. Whatever meant for you, maybe it's something from your previous incarnations, if you know and believe that they were there, or just deeper understanding of yourself, deeper understanding of this world, of your place in it, of harmony, of being here now. Whatever it is you're looking for, Kailash is a really good way to speed the process of manifestation of that for you. It may be as material as buying a new house, or meeting your significant other, or curing the illness. It's there, the answer to that, the mountain has it. And if you're ready, you will receive it. The answers, and they say that Kailash is connected to 14 different dimensions. For example, Shiva is said to reside in the 9th dimension. Whether we are, the earth, is currently in the 3rd dimension. So space and time, that's the 3rd dimension. Other dimensions give you certain currents of energy which you can connect to while being on Kailash, and then carry with you and work with and develop. So those may be your talents, your abilities, your wherever, the ideas that come to you. But the place is truly transformative and can open up a lot of things that may be dormant in you. Just by you physically being present, not even meditating, not even thinking, it will just activate it. And then your life will go in a different route. The only prerequisite is to be in a high vibrational state of mind, meaning just trust in the process, doing your best to stay present from moment to moment, being grateful for everything that comes to you, understanding that there is no coincidences. This has been pre-planned for you personally. The show is going on, and enjoying the show, enjoying life. And this state of enjoying the moment, like it is the last one, in Kailash comes to you naturally, because it's so unpredictable. You gotta be so careful when you walk up, when you walk down. You're so spaced out. So you really become very focused and concentrated on the moment, just surviving from moment to moment, and then you start enjoying moment by moment as you see, and you feel so good that you can do it. It's the best feeling. And then you can carry the same feeling out in your life. So the way you carry yourself on Kailash, slowly but surely, if you continue integration practices, becomes the way you carry yourself in life. And that's a really truly profoundly beautiful way to be in life. So this is what I have to say about the Quora, pretty much. And it's just been the most magnificent, beautiful journey.
Jai